And our first topic of this conversation, now that we're getting into it, is tax proposals. And we're talking both corporate and personal income. Now, Dr. Axelrod, we haven't heard from you yet, so would you mind presenting the Trump plan for tax proposals?
Yes, I will. I would like to point out that the topics that we're discussing today, that here at Feliciano, we already have many podcasts on similar topics on the Business Edge and Feliciano Live, and that the faculty have many published articles as well. So the school is a great resource, not just for the classes, but for research. Okay, so what's Trump's approach? Trump's approach is sort of a more classic free market, conservative approach, where he wants to extend tax cuts, right? The understanding is that when businesses have to pay more in taxes, it increases the cost of production, which means the price of goods go up, which means people want to not buy as much, okay? So it discourages investment, it discourages people buying, and so Trump's approach is, let's cut the taxes, and that will encourage economic growth. And if we look at what happened with the economy and especially the stock market, since he cut his had the tax cuts back in late 2017, early 2018, there seems to be empirical evidence that it has helped the economy to grow and to lower unemployment, at least until we got hit by the pandemic. So he would like to continue those tax cuts. Okay, and again, the idea is also, if you let people and businesses make their own decisions about how they spend their money, they're more likely to be more efficient with it. So it's about trusting the private sector to do a better job than the public sector as well.
Is there any area of concern in that plan as well?
Well, one concern would be, if you have the tax cuts, it will lead to a greater deficit. Part of the hope here is that if you have enough of a stimulus and people respond well enough, that the economy will grow sufficiently that maybe we might get some more revenue from the fact that we have a larger economy. On the other hand, if the economy is doing better and you have less unemployment, you have less people in poverty, that can help reduce the cost to government of having to try to support people that are in need.
All right, thank you. And Mr. Federman, could you provide insight on Biden's plan?
All right, first let me give you a summary over here. So what the Vice President has suggested are several increases in taxes on wealthier people. He wants to start charging Social Security taxes. Many people don't realize that Social Security, you stop getting charged Social Security when your income is somewhere around 120, 130,000, I don't know the exact number. He only wants to then start charging people who make more than $400,000 a year, which I believe is the top 1%. And he wants to then have Social Security taxes on all income over $400,000 a year. In addition, the tax cut previously cut the top marginal rate for the wealthiest citizens to 37%. He wants to put it back to 39.6, so increasing it by 2.6%. And a very important part of what he wants to do is putting a 15% tax rate on corporate earnings at a minimum. And that's because upwards of 80 or 90 of the 500 largest companies don't pay a penny in taxes at all because of loopholes in the tax code. He also wants to raise the top corporate rate from 21 back up to 28%. One of the reasons, and by the way, all of this will increase revenue by approximately $4 trillion over 10 years. Everyone knows we're in trouble because of the pandemic. Everyone knows we're running these massive deficits now. This will allow the government, but by the way, who'll be paying these increased taxes? The people who've benefited the most by the growth in the economy over the last 10 years. People who have large 401k plans have seen them prosper because they own the stock market. He's asking wealthier Americans to chip in a little more to help put the economy back on solid footing. It's estimated that the top 1% of earners in this country will pay more than 75% of these tax increases. This plan is extremely progressive. What does that mean? A progressive tax system is one that charges wealthier people a larger fraction of their earnings in taxes. One of the topics that we teach in my macroeconomics class here at Feliciano is something called marginal propensity to consume. If you have an extra buck, who's more likely to spend it? Well, if you let people who have low incomes keep most of their income, they have no choice, they're going to spend it. Asking the wealthiest to pay an extra few percent on money that they're already probably not spending, and then taking that money and actually having the government spend it will stimulate the economy dramatically. That's one of the thoughts behind this.
So what's something that might hurt Americans due to this plan?
The argument could be that there will be some corporations, because their tax rate's higher, they might be less likely to invest. But if you ask any corporation, are they thinking about doing a project? They're thinking about the gross amount of money they're going to make. We're going to go and invest in this project because we think we're going to earn a profit, and then we'll worry about paying taxes later. So the answer is it could cut back on some investment, but again, it's hard to pinpoint if that's really going to happen.
Thank you, and thank you both for our first topic.